When I was 12 years old, I developed what my mother termed a smart mouth. My backtalk was so bad that you could have used my photo for a clue in a crossword puzzle, and my parents would have immediately known to fill in SASS. The sassiness was not acceptable in our household, and the consequences came swiftly. I don't think I went to a single birthday party for the first half of 6th grade. The Miss Social Life did nothing to curtail my preteen verbal vomit, and one day I screamed a not very nice word at my father. The minute the word came out of my mouth, I was terrified and I expected to be grounded for life. Instead, my father introduced a new punishment. I had to memorize and read Shakespeare's plays. Among them, King Lear's famous monologue where he rails at his 2 pernicious daughters. Yes, a little on the nose, but at 12, I was more shocked and relieved I wasn't getting raked over the coals. My father recognized he needed more relevant punishment measures. He told me if I was going to use that type of language, I needed to be more creative and find better words to express myself, not coarse or common words. The message was clear. Words have power, the power to hurt and the power to shape. And the type of words I chose to use would reflect on me as an individual. From that moment on, I understood that words and how I used them were tantamount. Words became my currency, and using words properly, my passion. Metasyntactic units. This high-level phrase was used by a college classmate in a paper I was peer reviewing. His elevated words always stuck with me. The word words does sound very basic and belies its true depth and import. Raising it to metasyntactic units underscores the very same message my father was giving me with the Shakespeare assignment. When we think about the concept of better together in relation to words, it can go in either a negative or a positive direction. We've seen what happens when hate groups gather and share their invective. Viral, when used in relation to negative concepts, has the same connotation as the medical definition, an illness that takes hold and spreads. The antidote is instead to do and be better, to make sure that the good cells grow exponentially, and we're spreading positivity with the right words. When I lived in New York, I took an intensive self-defense course. The motto of the program was that the best fight is the fight that never happens. The point they drove into us is that our words were going to be our most powerful tool in any type of danger scenario. They forced me to think strategically about how best to use my words to get out of a sketchy situation. It's a tactic that can be applied to all aspects in life. About 10 years ago, my workplace sent around an email letting us know that IT was adding a line to our email signatures. Please consider the environment before you print this email. Given the nature of our business and the constant mandates to protect our clients' confidentiality, I took it to mean just be aware before you send sensitive documents to be printed in a common hallway. It wasn't until a later email detailing the company-wide sustainability efforts that I realized they meant capital E environment, not the physical location. Because my sister was studying environmental science at the time, I of course shared my duh moment with her, and I later discovered that my gaffe led to her classmates using "consider the environment" as their jokey mantra. The mix-up, while amusing, is a prime example of why using words properly is important for context and comprehension. It also illustrates how compelling word use can create new habits and cultural movements. Social media has shown us how words can have an inflated influence or deflated meaning. The powerful or scary truth of the matter is that with these platforms, people have a medium in which to express themselves and share words for all to see for all eternity. Social media can lead to overused cliches, stereotypical memes, misspellings, grammatical errors. They become commonplace and proliferate. On a very basic level, going back to my parents' early lesson about using creative language, social media can stunt creativity. Why should we think of a new way to express ourselves when we have easy phrases at our fingertips? However, in order to do better, we need to use better words to truly express ourselves. When I think about how I want to use word choices, I go back to 2 lessons from an English teacher. Say what you mean to say and mean what you say. Be original, be authentic, and be unique. That's not what I said, but that's what I heard. How many times have you had a difficult conversation with somebody that ended in those two statements? Word choice is important not just for the person who is speaking, but for the person who is hearing. I'm sure each of you right now can recall special words that someone said to you that resonate still today. They were the words you needed to hear at a specific time in your life. They nourished you, they held you up, and still today bring you energy. I'm sure there are also uttered words that you stew about, words that you can't let go of, that make you wonder whether those words were that person's truth or your truth, because words are that powerful. In the aftermath of Columbine, I was gutted by the warm and loving words shared by the friends of the murdered students. It pained me wondering if those students who had died knew how wonderfully their friends thought of them. I had experienced a loss of someone too young, and it had created an internal perspective shift for me. Those two events led me to an overwhelming need to make sure that I could find ways to share these important truths with the people I loved while I still could. Within my group of friends, I was known as the cruise director. So at our next Valentine's Day dinner, I brought 6 sheets of paper and had everyone trace 6 hearts. We passed the pages around the table, and each person wrote what they loved about the other person in a heart. I was lucky my friends appreciated my corny and sappy efforts, and they put up with my subsequent word-sharing games. 3 years ago, we lost our friend Chris. It was horrible, and it still is. During my grief process, though, I realized I had one small comfort. Because we had taken the time to share those important words with each other, I know that he knew how much we loved him, and we now have tangible reminders of how much he loved each of us. It's the gift of words I'm forever grateful for. However, I also know how bereft one can feel with words that hang in the air unsaid. So while I've just spent all this time giving you examples of why it's so important to make careful and considered word choices and craft great messages, here's the rub. If you wait too long to find the right words, you might not have time to say anything at all. We often hear, there are no words, but there are always words, even if they are simple as, I'm so sorry, I feel horrible. If there is anything I can do or anything you need, please let me know. Crafting words is an ongoing exercise for me. I'm not perfect by any means, but I always strive to do and be better with my word choice. My hope is that by sharing parts of my word journeys with you, you may be inspired on your own personal and creative approach to word use. And I hope that we can all be better together and consider the environment with better crafted metasyntactic units. Thank you.